This one's going to be called the fullback. I seen a double digit. When I say double digit, I mean in pounds on this fly. And it's a searching pattern. And it actually, if you don't know what's in the lake or what's being caught or what's being actively fed upon, try this fly. It's a fullback, okay, nymph pattern. It represents your dragonfly nymphs, any type of nymphs that are down there. So it's a great searching pattern. Okay. Now, materials, I use that Angler's Choice. It's an older dubbing material, and I mix it up with some of the Western angling art. Materials you probably won't find anymore, but it just gets something that's fuzzy and it's got a little glitter to it, you know. Especially the Superfly there, they make a good material, and they've got all kinds. And then also Still Waters now has quite a few of the different colors, sparkle materials that you can tie with. A lot of it's synthetic. Okay, so then I brought the Stillwater Solutions tonight, and that's because what they did with this material is they bleached the pheasant tails. Okay, then they get this kind of a segment to it. Now, if you look at it, I bought another one just to show. Oh, the guy had to put a string on that. All right, just to show you the difference in the color. Now, there's your regular pheasant tail, dyed olive. See the bars on there? Okay, now look at the color of the, right, of your pheasant tail, of your still waters. Okay, it's a little lighter. What is it going to make a big difference? It's preference. Again, it's tires choices, right? So, hey, let's try some of this still water stuff. Let's see what they're about. They charge a little more. So we'll carry at the fly fishing. Oh, he likes to see me get in there and grab materials because he knows I'm going. I always go in deep with carry and grab the materials. Now, what you want, really nice and long. Okay, about that much. Okay, 3/8 to 1/2 inch. I'm going to tie that in. So I'll get started here. First, we got to rethread.
So what size did you tie? Did you say to this thing?
Excuse me?
What sizes did you say you were going to use?
Size 6, 8, any size you like. Fullbacks come up in any size. You can tie them in any size. Just match what's around in the like go around, kick some rocks over at the lake, right? You'll be surprised what you can find. And study the lake a little bit, you know. Just don't get out there, run out there in the tube or the boat and not study the waters. You got to study the waters. You want to catch fish, you got to study the waters a bit. And the shoals, like the shoal is here, where it's coming out and then it drops down. The fish is looking towards you, towards the shoreline. He's not looking out away from the deeper waters. He wants to know what's coming out from the shoreline out, swimming out. And a lot of the insects are coming into the water, right? Okay. Materials. We also have pheasant tail for the tail and some copper wire for the ribbing. When I put that flying device for you there, showed you the material and the beard. I like the beard to sit just on the edge of that tip of your points, okay, when I tie it in. Some people like the legs a little shorter. I like it a little longer. It hides that point in the tails itself. Now the tails I grab up in the upper portion of the cape, longer feather. That way you don't have to fight with it. And I strip both sides. And then go in, tying the tail. You just fold it up. Okay. And I like it quite long, actually. I'd say 2/3 of the hook shag. Okay. So I'm going to just advance my thread. Right to the barb used to be there, right? That's your point of tie. Proportions. You got to study proportions. Okay. And I don't want it splayed out. I want it flat. So watch. I'm going to bring it in, measured, right? Present it, pinch, but real slack pinch, okay? Soft. Again, just wrap it over a couple of times, tight, tight, tighter. Get it in. Then you can come back on that. You got your material tied in, trim it. Do you want to weight it? Sure. Let's weight it. You can do that. You got time to do that. Never rush. You make a mistake, I'll say this. If you make a mistake in your tying, stop. Go back. Take it apart a little bit. It'll teach you to slow down and have some patience. Okay. Come around. What does that do? That just keeps the material from jumping underneath and around the hook. Right? Okay. Now we're going to go up. I'm going to get some weight in there. If this table survives. Okay. Hurry up, buddy. This is for the members. I like doing things for people that show up for these sessions because I'll tell you something. When it comes to go ahead and tying the flies, it's voluntary, but I'll tell you, I like doing it because of the presentation of it. And what Dave's doing there by going ahead and volunteering for these shows and stuff, I'll tell you, if you've never done it, take a gag. Just take a dagger at it and try it out. Like I'll tell you, when I went ahead and did it with the little ones there at the show, I had little short stops, not even the height of the table here, right? And that little guy had his hands on the table and his little eyes looking up at that woolly bugger, and he's looking at you. I'm next. I'm going to tie that fly. And I'll tell you, it gives you a fulfilling feeling to have to do that. But make sure somebody comes in and does a break with you, because I was there for, I think, 8 hours that day without a break, and I was like, oh. The little ones, they wouldn't let you go. They want you to keep going with them. So it's a lot of fun. And the parents sure got a kick out of it, too. Lots of people there, taking pictures, having fun. That's what it's about. You don't have to get serious. Okay, so we got some weight on this one. Tie it in. Again, proportions. You see how I left room there? Right? You got to leave room for that head. All right, on any of your flies. Okay, so now we're going to take that still water solutions. Okay, I'm going to come in there with my Thompson scissors, trim it. Okay. You got to sometimes work it a bit. There, or where am I here? All right. Can you see that? Okay. Just pull it. Now, we're going to tie this with the butt section. What do they mean? That's the butt section here. Right? Heavier end of the material. It's quite long. Okay. And I tie it way back at the tail, so you got to advance your thread back down there. Tie it in. Again, pinch. See how that sits right on top? Gets it in there. All right, tie it in good. All right. Okay, trim it. Okay, again, same thing, dubbing loop. Up, twist, right in there. Okay, that's right the halfway point on this one. Okay, we're gonna take, and I did a blend with this fly, again with the Western dubbing material and that angler's choice. Okay, so I have the two materials. Remember I showed you that we're going to stack it? Watch. Just keep pulling it apart and stacking it. That'll mix it up. All right, good choice. Nice. See that? Okay. Pulling away from it. All right. Take your dubbing loop, crochet hook. Okay, here we go. Notice the different material, this fur material, when it's blended in with your sparkle choice dubbing, it's a little thicker, but yet it pushes up on the dubbing loop really nice. And when you twist that in, it gets those hairs standing straight up. There's some rabbit in here, so that you got the hare's ear, as they call it. No, it's a little thick. There we go. Same technique as previous fly. I don't know if everybody's seeing that. All right, twist that in. I'm gonna let that sit for 1 sec, like so. I'm just going to bring that up here and put it in there. See? That's what that's for, that attaching. Because there's something we got to do here. We got to add the ribbing just about for that. See? Get ahead of myself. All right. Remember, butt sections when you're cutting that wire. Tie that ribbing in nice and tight. Here we go.
Was that copper?
Yep, copper wire. Hey, little bugger. Only happens when you're doing the presentation. All right. Okay, here we go. We're in there. Okay, so now we're going to wrap the material around the shank again, pulling it back. First part of it, you're going to get that standing up there and that. It's going to get in your way. Don't worry about it. You can fluff it up after with a, I use a, I'll show you in a minute here. Just wrap this in first. Keep pulling it back, tying it over. See how some of that fluff gets in there? It'll just pull out. Save it for your next fly. Okay, keep pulling her back. That'll build that body up. Okay, tie that in. You go, wow, does that look rough? Don't worry about it. You'll get there. It's all part of the story being told. Okay, see? Fluff it out. Now, fullback, right? So you got to fold a half section in here. And I got the body built pretty nice underneath. Right? So I come in with the scissors on top, and I just trim. Leave it on the sides. I don't care about the sides. Will we measure properly? Pretty close. I like a little longer body, so I'm going to add a little bit there. Get your proportions. Remember, always think about your proportions on the fly. Here's where we can just twist it on. Okay? One way. Pinch and twist. You get the same technique. You can pick it out afterwards. Okay? You want it a little heavier, just put it on a little heavier. But not too much on a single loop when you're doing a noodle, because it'll twist around, but it won't attach or adhere to the thread. So I'm just wanting to build it up a little bit more for that section of the fly. Okay, come over, you're bringing your half back over now, right? That's your wing case, as they call it. Okay, and don't trim that off. You got to keep going with that, right? You're going to build another dubbing loop now. Okay, so we're looking good. So now we're going to advance the wire, because we're only on the half section of the body for your wire, and I go in a reverse wrap. Okay, why is that? Because it stands out for the wire a little better. Okay, you don't have to go in tight. Walk it through. Hang on to your materials. Make sure it sets. Okay, likes to try to twist around. You can support it. It'll walk through. See how I'm doing that? You got to use your hands. Dexterity at its best. Okay, tie off. Now wants to play. Slip it in there. Get it. All right, right. There we go. Okay, you can tie it on the shank a bit, just so that again the butt sticks. All right. Trimmed it off. The wire itself, some guys like to twist it off. Okay, I hide it in here. Okay, buggy, very buggy fly. All right, now another dubbing loop, and we're on our way. Just looked over to see if that fly was back there, so have a look at it. Okay, you've done your dubbing loop, crochet hook in there. Does it take a little longer to do sometimes? Maybe. You know what? It works out in the end. Again, you're advancing up to the shank, about 1/8 back from the eye. Okay, twist. Grab your dubbing. And start putting it in there. Push. See that? It'll twist itself up, and it won't come undone on you and fall out, because you got a couple of wraps on there. Loop. See that? It twists itself. Yeah, I know. Make it look easy sometimes for beginners, but you know what? You got to practice with this stuff. You don't do it every day without practicing. And the nice thing about this is they call it the art of being silent for a reason. You're never having to talk to the wife, and that isn't a negative thing. It's just sometimes you want to get away, right? And you want to sit. And I'll tell you, you turn on the radio, nice and quiet, soft. Tie yourself a fly, surprisingly enough, the dog shows up, the cat shows up, and everybody's laying around with you.
The wife doesn't show.
No, she shows. She's tying me a pretty one. Then you got to get into what? The salmon flies, right? And you don't have that material near your box, right? You're digging through all your materials. Okay, again, we're going to wrap it up. Pulling it back as I go. You want it buggier? You can do it. Whatever you like. Remember, it's your imagination. Carry it on. You want it thick in there? Sure. Can you go back over? Sure. Pull it out? Sure. See that? Whatever you like. It's your fly.
You don't use a brush to pull it out, do you?
I'll be doing that shortly. I'll show you. Okay. Now, he says, well, there's material left there. Don't worry about it. Better to be a little long with your materials than short, or you'll be having to do the noodle, you know, a private single noodle on it. Unless you want to tie another dubbing loop at the end of your fly, it's kind of hard to do. So, like I said, don't cram up at the head. Okay? Remember, beginners, what did I say? Don't cram up at the head. All right, leave yourself some tying for your whip finish. Okay, trim off. Okay. Now, see how I come in? 3 fingers again. 1, 2, 3. Pull it around. Watch that point. It'll let you know. Okay, so I'm going right over the materials there a bit, see? Gets it all tied in. Finish that head off. Not all the way yet. What do you got to do? You got to tie in that wing case. Okay? Now, do you want to trim that down? It's up to you. I'm going to leave it nice and bulky. Okay? And you push down. Get it in there in that full case. Okay, now hang on to the materials at that point. Okay, come around. Secure your materials before you release. Right? Okay, nice and tight. You come around this side of it so that locks it in. Okay? Now, she's locked in there. Now you can trim it. You don't have to worry about it pulling out on you. Mind you, that big rainbow's going to tear this up anyway. Okay? Whip finish. Don't worry about how it looks. Just get her done.
What are you trying to imitate with this fly?
What am I trying to imitate? It actually imitates a lot of the different aquatic insects, your nymph patterns that are out there in the lakes. It can imitate the damselfly nymph. It imitates the dragonfly nymphs, right? That's what you're trying to imitate. And it's a good searching pattern is what this is. So this is why I use it. Get on the lake, don't see anything, no action, no rises, nothing going on. Kick the rock over, hey, you see a nymph take off. Looks about that color. Tie it on, tie it on. And don't be scared. Go up to Moline Lake now. Here comes that tying off loop again. See? 90 degrees, just like your whip finish.
You were saying something about Moline Lake?
Moline Lake I fished, and I use this pattern for searching. And I land it right into the rocks and pull it around. And I'll tell you, some big fish come up for it. It's a beautiful lake to fish, but you know what? You have your moments with fishing mountain lakes, let me tell you. It can be so pleasant sometimes, and some other times the winds are up so bad you got to get off. So you got to be safe about things, right? But fortunately, when I'm in the boat, it don't scare me. But if I'm in the tube, I get off the lake. All right. trim it. There's your fullback. And it's buggy. Now, Brian asked, well, what about brushing it? Go buy yourself a 22 caliber rifle brush. Had that in the box for years. It works great. Just give it a little pick. You want to make it more buggier, that's up to you. Okay? And we'll give these 2 flies here to the club tonight for your archives. So we're going to have to put a little head cement on her. Any questions? What I said, just take your time.